Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Mr. Tobin.
Thank you. Warami. And welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. I belong to one of the local Darug families, the Aboriginal custodians over this part of the country. I wish to thank the University for their acknowledgement of us and for the invitation to welcome you all here this morning. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated, particularly by our elders. Education is highly valued in Aboriginal culture too. Knowledge meant survival, and our elders are traditionally accorded great respect for their accumulated wisdom and experience. My family descend from Yarramundi, a respected cleverman and elder of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. As such, he enrolled his daughter, Maria, into the Native Institution, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie himself, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. She studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them, and it became known as the Blackstown, where present-day Blacktown comes from. So we're very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here today. And with good reason. For your progress progresses us all. Your advancement is our advancement. Now that was perhaps more readily understood in traditional times when camps were smaller and clan groups abided by strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you brought in from your day's activities was shared out with the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the whole community. And you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we do it properly. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly did in many respects, and I use these opportunities to offer them to yourself as a benchmark or a model on how good to expect our lives today. So when Captain Cook arrived here over 200 years ago, he described the people he encountered at Botany Bay as the happiest people he had ever met. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They made shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the land without tilling the earth. In traditional times, everyone was accorded rights to the country or clan area where he or she was born into. So there was no homelessness, no rich and poor. Everyone had pretty much what they could carry. There were no armies or jails or even police. No history of slavery or empire building. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed, and they were then shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in their natural state. Rivers were clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. Now, this is not an ideal, this is normal life. And we should expect no less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. Of course, we have a lot of work to do and a lot more people to feed, but we're a clever people, especially you guys in the front row. So I would say expect great things, dream big, and do great things, and together we could work together to get this country back to the healthy and happy place that it once was. We can all do our bit. Now I'll do mine by winding up and letting you good people graduate. I just want to say congratulations to all of you, and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you, Yano.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan. Mr. Egan.
Thank you, Chris Tobin, for your welcome to country. Well, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I'm pleased also to see down the back quite a number of babes in arms. Now, there's one thing about young children and little babies: they're sure to make a noise or cry during an hour and a half ceremony, And we have a very firm rule here: if they do make a noise, you are not to take them outside. You are to stay here. We've all heard babies cry before, and it won't bother anyone. I've heard worse. I was a member of Parliament for 25 years, so I can put up with a few babies wailing in the background. And in any event, we've discovered over time that it's a really good omen. If a baby cries during a graduation ceremony, they're back within 25 years to take out a PhD. So I assume that some of the people in the front row down here were crying here 22 or 23 years ago. So welcome everyone. Well, it's my very great privilege as Chancellor of Macquarie University to preside at this very important ceremony today. And first, let me welcome all of our graduands, and I hope that today will be a very happy and a very memorable occasion for all of you. You deserve to take pride, great pride, in your graduation. Completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind. You need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome and congratulations to each and every one of you. Today I also want to welcome, and especially welcome, those of you who are sitting behind our graduands as their invited guests. Because if you think about it for a moment, you've all obviously done very well too. The very fact that you are here, the fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you've been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate today. So, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, cousins, sons and daughters, grandmothers and grandfathers, friends, husbands and wives, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers, or whatever you are, congratulations and thank you for celebrating this great occasion with us. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role. I have another very important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they will soon become. I want you to make sure that the degrees that they receive today are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing to proclaim their own success, please make sure you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing today, and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Now, I hope it won't surprise you to learn that Macquarie University is not one of those 50 universities. In fact, we're relatively young, only 49 years of age. But in those 49 years, we've come a long way. We now have more than 130,000 Macquarie graduates living in more than 140 countries. Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We're regarded as one of Australia's leading research universities and are currently extending our research as we are our course offerings and our facilities. We're always trying to engage with the world around us. We've forged strong alliances with the community and with industry and are keen to establish more. On your way here this morning, you may have seen our new Macquarie University Hospital, just 2 years old, which is used by the students and academics in our School of Advanced Medicine. You may also have seen our new library, which is only about 12 months old, which I think is the very best in the land and I'm sure the envy of every other university. And on Wednesday, we'll be opening our new Advanced Hearing Hub, which is going to be a world-leading institute dedicated to advances in hearing, speech and language science. So we're looking forward and we're on the move. We want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning, and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in just a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Thank you.
Chancellor, I call on Miss Samantha Martin, who is graduating today with a Bachelor of Business Administration, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Miss Martin. I'm afraid I have the wrong name, and it is Andrew Lehman who is graduating today and speaking on behalf of the group.
Chancellor, members of the university, graduands and guests, it is truly an honour of mine to speak today. The great Homer once said, "This is everybody's fault but mine." When considered in the context of graduating, he was both half right and half wrong. Firstly, he's wrong because we are very much responsible for being here today. It took a lot of effort to survive and progress through the years of our degrees. For the friends and family in the crowd today who may not have experienced the life of a student, or who may have learned to drown out our complaints over the years, all of us graduands here will have long memories, we'll have memories of long nights studying in computer labs and study spaces, huddled among fellow sufferers, struggling through absurdly difficult assignments. Some will have spent a whole night without sleep, stressing over that major project or essay, or studying for those 2-3-hour exams they decided should be on the same day. I remember just a few months ago spending 36 straight hours in one of those computer labs, finishing up my honours project in the final days leading to its submission. Some of you took 5 classes a semester and were under a constant barrage of assessment after assessment with no free time to wind down. Some of you even spent your summers here, grinding through 13 weeks of material compressed into a 6-week package. Us graduands are unified by these trials by fire, preparing us for any insane adventure life throws our way. And we should remember that not all of our fellow students made it this far, that we have all had to sustain a significant amount of effort and energy in order to be in this room today. On the other hand, Homer was right that there are others at fault, so to speak, that we were not alone on this journey. We must be grateful to those countless others who contributed to our successes, both explicitly and behind the scenes. I'd personally like to thank the physics and maths department, firstly for giving me the opportunity to study the topics of my dreams. Many lecturers and admin put in the hours to create the whole degree structure and every class that I took. I'd like to thank them for the chances I got to research throughout my undergrad. Those experiences are invaluable to me and laid the foundations for my future. And then there is the university staff behind me who created the whole structure of our whole world here today. And on top of that, we have our friends and family here who are always there encouraging us in our darkest times when we thought we couldn't do it or when we thought about quitting. They were always there encouraging us, giving us strong words. We should all thank our loved ones for their irreplaceable contributions. And then there is support from society more generally for valuing education enough to create and sustain education institutions such as Macquarie, for a system of suspiciously reasonable student loans, and for gifting me a portion of your taxes in Austudy. In the end, the big question is, are we, because of our experience at Macquarie, better educated, better skilled, and more able to deal with the hardships of life because of what we learnt here today, throughout our years? Undoubtedly, the answer is yes. And so to my fellow graduands, congratulations and good luck in the future. Thank you.
Well done, Andrew, and congratulations on your honours degree and congratulations on a very fine speech. I don't think I've ever heard a graduate speaker before thank society in general. They thank the academic staff and they thank their family and friends and they thank their fellow students, but you're the first one to thank society in general, and it's a really important point because we have a lot to be grateful for living in a civilised society. And as an old treasurer, I can tell you, one of my favourite sayings is that taxation is the price we pay for civilisation. Well done, Andrew, and I'm sure you're going to have a great future ahead of you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the key part of the ceremony, which is the conferring of degrees. And of course that's the reason why we're here, but it's the part of the ceremony that makes me a bit nervous because, as I understand it, if I confer a degree on someone who is not entitled to receive it, there's nothing I can do to take it back. So I need an ironclad guarantee from the registrar that each and every one of you has never been late in submitting an assignment, have attended all of your lectures and seminars and what have you, and are otherwise eligible to receive your degree today. Can I have that assurance, please?
Chancellor, I certify that the candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees and diplomas they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees please stand?
Graduands, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University, and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees or diplomas for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Science. The faculty teaches courses and conducts research about people and our physical environment. It is home to a number of internationally recognised research centres. It has close links with industry and is building firm future partnerships, especially with companies located close by at Macquarie Park. The faculty includes research and study areas in biological sciences, chemistry and biomolecular sciences, chiropractic, computing, earth and planetary sciences, environment and geography, mathematics, physics and astronomy, engineering and statistics. Chancellor, I now call on Professor Clive Baldock, Executive Dean of the Faculty of Science, to present the graduates. Professor Baldock.
Thank you. Chancellor, I present to you the graduates and diplomats from the Faculty of Science whom you have admitted degrees or awarded diplomas. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Tay Ann Bay, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's commendation for a thesis entitled Singular Integrals and Function Spaces. Dr. Patrick Posang Cheng for a thesis entitled Remote Plasma Enhanced Chemical Vapor Deposition, Growth and Characterization of Polycrystalline Indium Nitride Thin Films. Dr. Alana Julia June Fernandez for a thesis entitled Enhanced UV Laser Cleaning of Glass Surfaces and Dehydroxylation of Fused Silica, Mechanisms and Techniques. Dr. Shah A. Tesh Amul Hock for a thesis entitled Scalable Distributed HEMT Model for Millimetre Wave and Wireless Applications. Dr. Don Yuan Si La for a thesis entitled Semantic Transformation for XML Queries. Dr. Jipang Ling for a thesis entitled Continuous Wave Crystalline Raman Lasers. Dr. Fu Ken Lai for a thesis entitled Riesz Transforms, Function Spaces and Weighted Estimates for Schrödinger Operators with Non-Negative Potentials. Dr. Alex Edward Moore for a thesis entitled Random Parameters Analysis of Competitive Agents in an Imperfect Information Environment. Dr. Ganya Safonova for a thesis entitled Two-Dimensional Potential, Propagation and Wave Scattering Problems for Arrays of Arbitrary Profiled Cylinders, Method of Analytical Regularization. Dr. Aktha Sherman for a thesis entitled Reconstruction of Gene Regulatory Networks Using Biological Domain Knowledge. Dr. Jen Song for a thesis entitled Advanced Optical Imaging of Nanoparticle Distribution and Transport Pathways in Human Skin. Dr. Dushmantha Nuwan Prasanna Thalaktuna for a thesis entitled Reconfigurable Multi-State Circuits for Microwave Applications. Dr. Elena Velchko for a thesis entitled Electrodynamic Simulation of Open Axial Symmetrical Compact Resonators, Two-Dimensional Initial Boundary Value and Boundary Value Problems. Dr. Han Yuen Vo for a thesis entitled Protecting Web Surfaces from Botnet Exploitations. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Applied Statistics. Verity, Hampshire. Harry Philip Kavanagh. Laura Claire Moore, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Lu Tao Yang. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Consulting, Stephen James Gazilas. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Geoscience, Peter Jeffrey Austin. Anthony Stephen Cornish. Sarah Ann Fitzjohn. John Graham. Kim Jessup. I'm sorry. Sorry. William Vincent Jones. Sherwin Lai. Jacqueline Louise Walsh, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Information Technology. Bupak Alifar. Azucena de los Angeles Coronel Castaneda. Matthew Fennick. Laisha Yija. Mohammed Etisham Khan. Su-Yun Lee. Lei Lei. Amir Mada. Nok Trong Hoi Yuen. Sarah Faisal Shash. Vidushan Sivalinjan. Samuel James Wignall, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Ku Yong Wong. Zhenxing Xu. Gian Mario Zulo. I present the diplomat awarded the Graduate Diploma in Information Technology, Navil Narayan. I present the diplomat awarded the Graduate Diploma of Information Technology, Raveen Gandhar. I present the graduate admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Science with First Class Honours and the University Medal for Statistics, Xin Wang. I present graduates admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Science with First Class Honours, Jacob Evans. Andrew Lehman. Vincent Wei Chung Ing. Christopher Ewan. Shane Bruce Vickers. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Engineering with First Class Honours, Joshua James Larietti. Esther Nabitozi. David Niven. Zarin Tasnin Binte Saif. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Engineering with Honours, Steen Robert Larry Cummings. I present graduates admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Advanced Science with First Class Honours, Carlos Humberto Bacigalupo. James Gregory Tocknell. I present the graduate admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Computing Science, Xingqing Wang. I present the graduate admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Information Systems with First Class Honours, Nathan Gregory Maras. I present graduates admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Medical Sciences with First Class Honours, Ilza Anna Simpson. Caitlin Ann Tagg. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of honours degree of Bachelor of Medical Sciences, Vanya Dzumur. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Psychology with the Bachelor of Health, Michael Andrew Cope. Nicole Fagan. Elizabeth Carmen Rumble. Tasha Siva Nantham. Alexander Margaret Stewart. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science with the Bachelor of Arts, Liesl Ann Suarez. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Advanced Science, Blake Entwistle. Matthew Tucker. Matthew James Van Brugel. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Wyman Khan. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Computer Science, Daniel Bardou. I present the graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of E-Business, Ali Alavi. Nathan Borg. Joseph Chan. Francis Chung. Andrew Guodong Lau. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Engineering, Evan William James Conway. Christopher Michael Edward Ellis. Conrad Smith. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Health, Hannah Beetham. Anne Jackson. Hannah Therese McBride. Christina Rosemary McBurney, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Heather McRae. Corey May McWhinney. Debbie Ewan. Kimberly Amy Knopfs. Laura Peaty. Elizabeth Maria Richens. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Information Systems, Stuart John Curnow. Matthew James Garnett. Alexander Morland. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Information Technology, Stefan Arshnik. Scott Muir Baker. Stephen Barsoom. Perry Anthony Burgess. Emmanuel Chimala. Cameron Benjamin Chang. Yung En Chang. James Chen. Tom Chen. Colin James Coker. Aaron Peter Collock. Miko Kulala. Ba Peter Dang. Regini Anna Catherine David. Sian Kathleen Davidson. Bradley Davis. Owen Daniel Davies. Suraj Dhawan. Tahura Esmail Khan Hamedani. Jason Gelatli. Christopher Hound. Richie Alvian Retanto. Nicholas Lanfranca. Kwan Timi Lung. Vincent Singh Fang Lee. Jonathan Peter Liao. Philip Handok Liao. Woli Oliver Leo. Vincent Lowe. Weming Lu. Joseph Samuel Marnie. Sean Paul Muscat. Keijuan Ning. John Thomas Knott. Michael Raynor. Jade Elise Reardon. David Charles Rogers. John Cedric Roxas. Abhishek Simkada. Sajid Singh. Jeffrey Setawan Tanuo Jaja. Julian Tass. Jason Andrew Tom. Jackie Kar Min Si. Suraj Vakjiani. Michael Van Trick. Murray James Wand. Weda Wong. Martin John Williams. Benjamin Wong. Jerora Ru Wu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Medical Sciences. Elena Patricia Anderson. Emily Pamela McCann. Raha Musavi Jazari. Gazelle Pashan. Rubab Raza. Rita Sabag. Rowan Edward Trouncer. Parissa Vamani. Samuel Ewan. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science. Christina Baldwin. Timothy Biles. Daniel Caprera. Long Feng Zhao. Anne Elizabeth Costan. Christopher Cray. Andrew James Curline. Tiffany Elizabeth Day. Glenn Douglas. Maria Cristina Fernandez. David Brinson Gardner. Jan Lee Gibbon. Rohan Janji. Huin Ha Kim. Rajika Lakmali Kurawatwita. Jonathan Lau. Adam Michael Nagel. Cameron Perks. Catherine Wendy Radford. Jasmine Ramal. Reese Patrick Roberts. William Tree Santoso. Maverick Scanlon. Adam Taylor. Michael Grant Tetley. Andrew David Wood. Chancellor, that completes this morning's presentation of the graduates and diplomats from the Faculty of Science.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that beautiful voice belongs to Angela Brewer. Would you like to hear Angela sing just a little bit more? Well, it's very simple. You enrol in another degree, and when you come back next time, I guarantee you Angela will be singing at your next graduation. I think Angela deserves another great round of applause. As do our musicians on the organ, Dr. James Forsyth. And on the Chinese flute, Mr. Chai Cheng Ning. And there's a group of people sitting over there who are wearing badges which say, "Ask me." That's not their family name. They're actually our alumni volunteers, and they come along to make sure that your graduation runs smoothly. They deserve a great round of applause too. As part of this graduation ceremony, we honour a member of staff from the Faculty of Science who has made outstanding contributions to student learning at Macquarie University. I now call upon Professor Jim Piper, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research of Macquarie University, to read the citation. Professor Piper.
Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to invite Professor Quentin Parker to come forward. Chancellor, Professor Quentin Parker is a 2012 winner of a Vice-Chancellor's Award for Teaching Excellence. Professor Parker won his award for his research-based learning and teaching, delivering benefit from his special position at Macquarie University, which is jointly funded under a long-term cooperation agreement between the university and the Australian Astronomical Observatory. This relationship has resulted in student access to the telescope, development of vacation scholarship scheme, Australian content in his unit materials, and has helped propel astronomy at Macquarie University into the top group of departments in astronomy in Australia. Professor Parker has led the redesign of the astronomy curriculum and developed new planet units. Under his enthusiastic leadership, undergraduate student numbers in astronomy have grown to such a level that the department has recognised this by renaming as Physics and Astronomy. Professor Parker has also created valuable relationships with schools through his Space to Grow project funded by the Australian Research Council and others. Chancellor, I present to you a truly worthy recipient of the 2012 Vice-Chancellor's Award for Teaching Excellence, Professor Quentin Parker from the Department of Physics and Astronomy in the Faculty of Science.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker, Dr. Adi Patterson. Dr. Adrian Patterson is the Chief Executive Officer of the Australian Nuclear Science and Technology Organisation, perhaps better known as ANSTO. Since his arrival at ANSTO, Dr. Patterson's diverse career experience, understanding of and exemplary skills in science, engineering, policy development and business have allowed him to drive positive change and growth. He is a trusted voice, regarded as such by government officials and invited to regularly speak by business and scientific organisations on the nexus between science, innovation and business, nuclear science and technology issues, and the international aspects of nuclear power. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Patterson.
Chancellor, members of the university, graduates and guests, it's a real pleasure to be here today and to be able to share a few thoughts with you. I sort of don't quite fall into the Mark Twain school of education. He famously said, "I never let schooling interfere with my education." And I think if Mark Twain was wrong about one thing, is that residential universities increasingly are going to be critical to every generation of future Australians, so that we can ensure that not only do we train the minds, but we also train each other to work together in a collaborative and an effective fashion. Those of you who graduated today deserve huge congratulations. You have in your hands a green folder. In the green folder is a sliver of paper. It used to be parchment. Before that, they used to actually skin a sheep, and you had a sheepskin thin vellum that they would have written on with a pen. And that was the basis of your testamur, the certificate you got today. I don't know if you've really gone into the Latin of testamur. Did anybody look it up? Get it ready? Nobody really interested in that. Oh, that's a pity, because I wanted to explain it. Testamur, the word means we are witnesses. It doesn't refer at all to the sheet of paper. It refers to this event we are in here today. We are witnessing you become fulfilled at this stage of your academic career. And I quite like that. It's better than getting what many universities will call a diploma or a certificate. A diploma means a folded sheet of paper. That doesn't sound quite as impressive as having a document that is a witness to what you have achieved today. And so I congratulate you that you came to this ceremony so that we could witness with you what you've achieved. And of course, your family and your friends and your significant others, and even some people who never thought you'd get here, came to see you today. And so it's a great congratulations to all of the people in the extended families and relationships that you hold. It's really exciting to observe this. But I wonder what it is that we are witnessing, because the testamur, I'm just going to give you the sorted out test. It's in the first person, so it says we are witnessing, and I guess that's the signatures at the bottom, but in a broader sense, the whole university community is witnessing what is happening today. It's a first person plural, and it's in the present indicative tense. Now, I don't know if we still do grammar at universities. In a postmodern age, we might not need to do grammar anymore. But what does the present indicative tense mean? Well, it means that it happened today. Today, when you received the certificate, you might have thought you completed your degree when you looked at the website and saw that you'd passed all the courses, but today is the day of completion. But the wonderful thing about the present indicative tense, it's true today, but it is always true into the future. So you can never escape the fact that you made this achievement, because we have seen you here and you have become part of the Macquarie community, which is a global community and a growing community and a very, very important community. So it's really exciting to be able to witness it. But what is it that we are witnessing? The first thing that we're witnessing is achievement. You have reached a standard that has allowed you to receive this testimony to it, the testamur, that you've achieved that standard. But if that was the only thing, it would be a very disappointing day, because it's not the piece of paper, but it's the neural network in your head that has been fundamentally modified. You have been changed by the experience of learning here and researching here and adding to bodies of knowledge in such a way that you are not the same as when you started. You've been fundamentally transformed by this experience. I know it doesn't feel like it when you go through it, but you have been. And therefore, not only have you achieved something, but you have got a future potential that you can realize because of the experience of being a student here. And that potential will be expressed in all sorts of ways. And we will not, all of us here, be witnesses to that. But I was looking on I'm a big follower of Twitter. And I went on to look at the Macquarie Twitter stream, and I found two signal achievements over the last period of time that have been done in Macquarie. Now, I don't know if Twitter is academically reliable yet. Would you use it in a PhD? Probably not. I don't know if anybody's referenced a tweet in a PhD yet. You could be the first if you haven't finished writing up. But in fact, over the last month, there have been two science-centric tweets that have come out. The one is on nanodiamonds. And incredible work has been done by a group of researchers who've been looking at electron spin and looking at how you can use a three-dimensional approach of measuring that spin using an optical method. And this was published in the Nature Nano Journal, which is a very, very prestigious journal. Now, I don't know whether you worry about quantum computing and quantum spin and all of that sort of stuff. It's probably a very small group of people. But in the report that was made about those nanodiamonds, what wasn't obvious until you went and looked at the original paper is that the diamonds were made here and the measurements were made in Spain. This is part of the future of science. So we can no longer just be in one place when we do science because it is a global community trying to deal with and answer global questions and come up with new and exciting global innovations. Interestingly, in the article that was written that went all the way into the science media around the world, it points out, they talk about the real world of quantum dots. Now, I didn't know that that was real. I don't know if you think quantum dots are real, but people who write about this stuff talk about the real world of quantum dots. It's a world that we didn't know about 12, 15, 20 years ago, but it's a world that increasingly will influence our future. So this small anecdote should point to how you have to use your knowledge to advance knowledge for the future of the community. The other story was, I think, slightly different. It's about the Weebubby cave slimes. Does anybody follow this story? It got all the way into the Huffington Post. Does anybody follow the Huffington Post? You're not a very digitally savvy audience. In fact, part of my challenge of being involved in nuclear science and technology is to stay digitally savvy, because most of what we do these days is only published in electronic form. Increasingly, we're being transformed in this information age into doing things differently. Now, the Weebubby cave slimes are really interesting because they are very ancient slimes, and they were probably introduced into those caves by the ocean getting higher than it is these days, or the continent being lower than it was now. And these very, very ancient bacteria all got together and decided that instead of using photosynthesis or some other method, they would actually extract their energy from breaking down ammonia, a nitrogen atom with 3 hydrogen atoms on it, in the cave in complete darkness. Now, I don't know about you, but that could be a really great energy source. We could take all of the runoff from commercial fertilizers which have excess nitrogen, get these Weebubby cave things going, and then they could generate energy from the runoff from the fertilizer before it gets to the coral reef and bleaches it. How does that sound as a potential innovation suggestion? That immediately sprang into my mind because it is important in this age that we learn how to live with the scarce resources that we have on the planet. So what will you choose to work on? What transformation would you like to bring to your family, to your social network, to society at large? And how will you make those choices now that you have completed this qualification that you received here today? I often ask myself the question, what sort of science and engineering will underpin our future? It reminded me of a terrible period where I used to work with academics who would go to be the people who undertook the examination of people in the Soviet Union. And at that time, to get a doctorate in the Soviet Union, you had to pass 2 exams. The one was the academic exam of being examined by one of your peers in your field. But before your peer could meet with you, you had to pass another exam, and that was the political exam that showed that you were a properly signed up member of the Communist Party in the Soviet Union. Otherwise, you couldn't achieve your degree. Those days are over for the Soviet Union, but are they over in this complicated global setting in which we live? Have we protected the roots of academic freedom, and do we continue to protect them? Do we respect the tradition that one of the great outcomes of centres of learning, like Macquarie, is a tradition of freedom, a tradition of engagement, a tradition of respect for other people's ideas, and a tradition which speaks about a future where there's greater freedom for more people? We have a challenging world to live in. In the postmodern world, rubbish can often appear as facts, and people with no knowledge at all can appear to be erudite. It's a complicated place to live. And increasingly, we see the pattern, even in democracies, where people choose ignorance over insight. They choose not to know and do that in an articulate way than to truly know and to be the humble servant of people who desperately need the quality knowledge that will bring transformation. One of my great heroes is Marie Curie, the first female professor in France, won 2 Nobel Prizes. Her daughter also won a Nobel Prize. She was an awesome fighter for freedom for her native Poland, which at the time was oppressed by the Russians. She lived her life right on the edge of discovery, right through her life. And she said this, and this is where I'd like to end today, as I challenge you to be engaged in the struggle, not just for knowledge, but for the freedom to apply knowledge for the benefit of all. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. She said it well, and I thank Marie Curie, and I thank you all, and I wish you all the best in your careers. Thank you.
Well, graduates, I think you'll all agree that was an outstanding occasional address, and you have been very fortunate to have it as part of your graduation ceremony today. There was actually, I thought, a link between what Dr. Patterson said and what our graduate speaker said, because our graduate speaker thanks society generally, and it is very, very, very important that we live not just in a civilised society, but a free society. I came across a book once, which was a beautiful book. The binding was just beautiful, and that's why I bought it. And it turned out to be a verbatim transcript of the 1947 Moscow Conference on Biological Sciences, where a pseudo-scientist by the name of Lysenko, who was a favourite of Stalin, used to terrorise all the Soviet scientists into adopting and teaching the most outrageous claptrap. And it really is a frightening book to read. I picked it up one night at about 11 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not a scientist, I know nothing about it, but it was the totalitarianism of it that really got me. And I didn't put the book down till about 5 a.m. when I'd finished reading it, and I realised how lucky we were and what a precious thing we have in freedom, and how we should never take it for granted, and we should never assume that it will always be something that we can cherish. It's something that has to be defended. So that was a great occasional address. I thank Dr. Patterson for being here today, and I think he deserves another great round of applause. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it is certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you are part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of Macquarie alumni, which now spans the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support, and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And please do make sure that you come back to Macquarie, either to undertake more study, to attend alumni events, perhaps use our aquatic and fitness facilities, or even, if you like, to enjoy a picnic down by our lake. Well, now, graduates, The award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges, but like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to do it either, although that would be good, because almost everything you do, in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, of every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society, through the decades, indeed the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned, not only for your own benefit, but also for the betterment of the community. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you've enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, to go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Graduates, I hope also that you'll always remember the people who have helped you along the way, many of whom, of course, are here with you today. So to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask graduates for you to do a couple of things for me. First, would you all please stand? And I'd like you now to put your testameurs on the seat behind you so that your hands are free. And now I'd like you to turn around to face your families and friends. And now I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. Well, graduates, you can turn around now, but please don't sit down. Here on the dais are representatives of our academic staff who have supported you throughout your journey, and I'm sure you'd like to give them a great round of applause too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the official party will now leave the courtyard through the centre aisle and will be followed by all of the graduates. I would invite you all to now please stand and to remain standing until the last of the graduates have processed out. And then I invite you to join us at the University Court for some light refreshments. Well, graduates, I wish you the very best for the future. And in the words of the old Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Thank you and good luck.